So I have some materials which will help you to enhance your language abilities. Let's start. Hi Adam, I'm in the park with some friends. Do you want to join us? What are you doing? At the moment we're listening to Sue. She's playing the guitar. Is she good? She's okay. She's getting better. She has guitar lessons every week. So are you coming? I don't know. We're moving house next weekend, so I need to help my parents. We're packing boxes today. That's a shame. We're playing volleyball later. I love volleyball, maybe just for an hour. Sure, a game of volleyball doesn't take long. See you later. This is a classroom in a primary school in South Korea. The classroom is very high tech. There are some students on the floor. They are playing with a robot dog. Is there a teacher? Yes, there is, but the teacher is a robot. It is difficult to find English teachers in South Korea, so they are starting to use robots instead. The robot can speak and correct pronunciation. Are the robots popular with the students? Chung Cha, the girl on the right, says, the robots are fun, but I think a real teacher is better. I hope robots don't replace teachers because I want to study languages at university and be an English teacher one day. Last weekend, somebody bought a lottery ticket. Choose all the correct numbers and won millions. How lucky, or maybe not. In the 1970s, scientists at the University of Illinois studied lottery winners and compared their level of happiness with other people. The results were interesting. The winners felt delighted for a short time, but after that, their happiness returned to normal levels. A similar study by the University of California in 2008 gave the same results. They looked at lottery winners 6 months after their win and found completely normal levels of happiness. And for a few unlucky people, a huge lottery win was the start of major problems. Alex Toth, for example, won $13 million in 1990. He stopped working, spent the money quickly, and had terrible arguments with his family and friends. Message in a bottle. In 1990, Zoe Lemon was on a ferry sailing from Hull in England to Germany. She was going on holiday with her family. The journey was long and tiring, and 10-year-old Zoe soon got bored. To pass the time, she decided to write a message in a bottle and drop it into the sea. It will be interesting if someone finds it, she thought. Then she forgot about the bottle completely. 23 years later, she was amazed to get a reply from someone in the Netherlands. A man was walking on the beach and was surprised to find Zoe's bottle in the sand. He wrote to the address on the message where Zoe's parents still live. Zoe was delighted, but it was also very moving for her to see her message again after 23 years, and she cried when she read it. It's astonishing that the bottle didn't break, said Zoe. Her 5-year-old son thinks it is all very exciting and wants to put a message in a bottle himself. A life without pain. All children hurt themselves from time to time, but when 13-year-old Ashlyn Blocker was younger, she had more accidents and injuries than her friends. For example, she once put her hands on a very hot engine and got a serious burn. She only knew about it when she looked at her skin. She showed her parents and they took her straight to hospital. They took her straight to hospital. Ashlyn simply did not know when she injured herself. When Ashlyn was a baby, her parents knew she was different. She didn't cry. Then, when she was 8 months old, they noticed there was some blood in her eye, so they took her to see a doctor. The doctor was shocked and confused when he looked at Ashlyn's eye. There was a serious cut. So why wasn't the baby get upset? Why didn't she cry? The eye injury soon got better, but doctors realized that Ashlyn had a very unusual medical condition. She couldn't feel any pain. This condition is very rare. Only about 100 people in a year in the USA are born with it, and many of them die because of it. Pain is a natural warning. When you're ill or injured, your body hurts and this tells you there's a problem. People who can't feel pain often die young because When they break a bone or have a problem with their heart, they just don't realize. The first 2 years of Ashlyn's life were very difficult. She often tripped and injured herself. Once she broke her ankle and didn't know, so she didn't stop running. At school, Ashlyn needed a lot of attention to keep her safe. For example, in the playground, one teacher watched Ashlyn all the time. When other children fell over, the teacher could ask, "Does it hurt?" But of course, with Ashlyn, it was not so simple, and the teachers had to search for cuts, bruises, or other injuries. When she was 5, Ashlyn's story appeared in newspapers. Then she had invitations to appear on TV shows and became well known. Scientists studied the causes of her condition and found it was a genetic disorder. For some reason, pain signals do not reach her brain. Unfortunately, at the moment, there is no hope of a cure. And as Ashlyn knows, a life without pain is both difficult and dangerous. Why video games are good for your health. Many people assume that video games have a negative effect on young people. A lot of time in front of a screen is bad for the mind and the body, they believe. Newspapers' headlines often express the same opinion, and combat games cause the most concern because of the violence. But is there any evidence for this view? According to a report in American Psychologist, the truth is not so simple. Playing video games is sometimes good for children's education, health, and social skills. Research shows that video games can actually improve certain mental skills. This is especially true for combat games. These games teach players to think about objects in 3 dimensions, and this makes them better at studying science, technology, engineering, and maths. Other types of video games do not usually provide these benefits. However, other types of video game can have other positive effects. In 2013, scientists did some research into the effect of role-playing games on children. The research showed that when children spend a lot of time playing RPGs, they get better grades at school than children who do not play them. Other research showed that playing any kind of video game, including violent games, improved children's creativity. But using a computer or smartphone for emails or other tasks does not provide this benefit. Quick and simple games like Angry Birds can improve players' mood and prevent them from feeling anxious. This emotional benefit is important, the report suggests. Feeling relaxed and happy is good for your health. The report also describes another emotional benefit of video games. They teach children how to react well to failure. In video games, players continually fail and try again. This makes them emotionally strong in real life. Video games can improve social skills too, the report says. More than 70% of gamers play with a friend, not alone, and millions of people take part in huge online games like Minecraft or Farmville. The players learn useful social skills, how to lead a group, how to work together, and how to make decisions. Overall, the report does not deny that some video games can have negative effects. But it is important to think about the benefits too. And remember, you mustn't believe everything you read in the newspapers. Dear Jake, thanks for your letter and sorry I didn't reply sooner. I went to see a great film at the cinema last weekend, Iron Man 3. I went with my friend Patty because he loves the Iron Man films. It isn't a new film, but it was definitely worth seeing again. The special effects are amazing, and it also has a clever plot with lots of twists. There are some funny lines in the script too. After the film, we met some other friends at a noodle bar in town. It was fun, but I didn't really like the food. It was very spicy. Do you fancy going to the cinema next week? They're having a season of action films, including all the Batman series. Let me know and I'll book the tickets. Anyway, I'd better go now. Ring me and let me know about the cinema. Love, Andy. On a clear night, you can often see meteors, space rocks, as they fall towards the Earth. Each rock is smaller than an apple, but they look as bright as stars in the night sky, so people call them shooting stars. Larger meteors are much rarer, but their effects are far more spectacular. In 2013, a meteor exploded in the sky above the city of Chelyabinsk in Russia. The explosion was more powerful than the 1945 Hiroshima atomic bomb, but its effect was not as devastating as the bomb because the meteor exploded much further from the ground. Scientists compare the Chelyabinsk meteor to an earlier and far bigger explosion, the Tunguska event. The Tohoku earthquake in 2011 was the most powerful earthquake ever in Japan and the fifth most powerful in the world. The earthquake happened 70 kilometers from the coast, but it caused one of the biggest tsunamis ever recorded. The wave was over 40 meters high and was large enough to travel 10 kilometers inland in some places. The worst damage was in coastal towns where the land was flat. Some people managed to go to places high enough to be safe, but others weren't so lucky and didn't have enough time to escape. More than 18,000 people lost their lives. The wave also damaged the nuclear power station at Fukushima. Some people say that the power station was too close to the sea. The Prime Minister of Japan said, "In the 65 years since the end of World War II, this is the toughest and the most difficult crisis for Japan." Most people do not take global warming seriously enough. Do you agree? Global warming is probably the most serious threat we face, and we should all be worried about it. And indeed, it seems to me that most people take the issue very seriously. These days, people take a lot of care to recycle plastic, paper, glass, and other materials. If recycling bins are available, they use them. What is more, they often choose to walk or cycle somewhere in order to reduce carbon emissions. There are people who believe that it is normal for the temperature of the earth to go up and down. They don't believe that humans are causing global warming, so they don't believe that humans need to alter their behavior. Other people may just be too selfish to lead a green lifestyle. Nevertheless, the majority of people believe the evidence and do whatever they can to combat climate change. 100 years ago, every lift had an operator who stopped the lift at the different floors, and opened and closed the doors. That job no longer exists because lifts are now automatic. Which jobs that people do today will disappear because of technology? Most people book their holidays online. If this trend continues, travel agents will probably become unnecessary. Self-service checkouts at supermarkets are becoming very common, and so are automated toll booths on motorways. Many people now read the news online. If newspapers disappear entirely, we won't need news agents. And what will happen if everyone learns online instead of in a classroom? Teachers might disappear. Is university education overvalued? 18-year-old Andrew Barkin has received $100,000 to go and live in San Francisco, California for 2 years. But there is a catch. During that time, he can't go to university or study. Instead, he has to develop his own business, a website that helps charities to raise money. The money comes from Peter Thiel, multimillionaire and co-creator of PayPal. Every year, Thiel selects 20 students from thousands of applicants. He only chooses those with the best business ideas. Andrew got through the semifinals, which involved a Skype call, and then flew to San Francisco for the final. There, he had to present his ideas to an audience of important business people from Silicon Valley. Thiel is an ex-student himself. He went to the Brit School in London, and he has strong views on university education. He feels that many young people apply for degree and postgraduate courses without really thinking about what they want to do afterwards. They overestimate the benefits of university education and undervalue the benefits of working in business. The best jobs in the world, probably. Back in 2012, Andrew Johnson was near the end of his history and photography degree in Chicago. He planned to apply to film school after graduation rather than look for a job. But then his dad noticed an advertisement for a job with toy manufacturer Lego. Andrew, who was already a Lego fan, sent in an application. It included a video of himself making models. The company loved it and invited him to take part in an unusual interview. He had to complete he had to compete against seven other finalists in a model building test. Andrew won, and as a result, they offered him a job. He joined the team at Legoland Discovery Center in Illinois as a master model builder. He meets visitors and helps to give them exciting new ideas. Perhaps one day he'll go to film school, but for now he's happy. Lego was always just a hobby, but now I can do what I love and get paid for it, said Andrew in an interview. Do you find it difficult to get out of bed sometimes, especially on frosty winter mornings? Well, imagine having a job where you don't have to. Jo Unsworth works as a duvet tester for John Lewis, a British department store. She has the job of finding the most comfortable duvets in the world to sell in their shops. Jo has a degree in textiles, so she can recognize good quality. But the real test of a duvet is sleeping under it. It's probably the only career where it's okay to fall asleep while you're at work, Yo says. She often can't believe how lucky she is to have her dream job. What is more, she finds it rewarding. If I do my job properly, hundreds of other people sleep better. It's brilliant. Some film providers like Netflix employ people to watch new films and TV series from the comfort of their own home. Their job is to make a note of what type of film it is, horror, rom-com, etc., and what age group and type of person might like it. The film provider can then recommend it to their members. Joe Mason finished his degree in film studies about 2 years ago and didn't know what to do next. Then he read an article about film taggers. It sounded like a fantastic job, so I did some research online and wrote to Netflix, said Joe. At first, they weren't interested, but when Joe told them he speaks fluent French, his mom is French, they gave him a job. He watches French films and TV programs. It's a great job because I can work when I want, I can take a day off if I like, and work at the weekend instead. The only problem with the job is that Joe can choose what he wants to watch. Sometimes I have to watch 15 episodes of rubbish, but I shouldn't complain, really. Application for the role of sales assistant. I noticed your online advertisement for a sales assistant during the summer and am writing to apply for the post. In October, I'm going to start a degree in design in Brighton University. Until then, I'm keen to find a position which suits my interest in fashion. I have experience of working in retail. Last summer, I spent 6 weeks as a sales assistant in a clothes shop. Furthermore, I believe I possess all the necessary personal qualities for the post. I'm hardworking, honest, and reliable. I'm enclosing my CV, including full contact details. I can send references on request. If I pass my exams in June, I will be available to start work in July. I look forward to hearing from you soon. Yours faithfully, G. Browning. Summer jobs in catering. A busy London hotel is looking for hardworking, polite, and reliable waiters for the summer months, from July to September. Experience and advantage. Apply in writing, enclosing your CV to the restaurant manager, Clark's Hotel, Bond Street, London. Dear Jenny, we've been in Florence for 3 days. What an amazing city. The weather hasn't been very good, so we've been to a lot of museums and art galleries. I've seen Michelangelo's David and hundreds of beautiful paintings. I've bought you a souvenir. Have you missed me? Love, Ella. Dear Jenny, we've been in Florence since Monday. The weather's terrible, so we haven't done much. In fact, we've spent most of our time in museums. I've seen about 500 paintings and I've had enough. Elle hasn't asked me what I want to do. How long have we been friends? Unbelievable. Love, Medicine. Can I see your boarding pass? A 9-year-old boy managed to get on a plane without a ticket or boarding pass and fly from Minneapolis to Las Vegas. He didn't have to go through passport control as it was a domestic flight, but he managed to pass all the security checks without any problem. The previous day, security cameras filmed him stealing suitcases from the baggage carousel in the arrivals hall and then ordering a meal in a restaurant in the terminal building. However, after the meal, he told the waiter that he had to go to the toilet and left the restaurant without paying. The following day, he returned to the airport, walked through to the departure lounge, and then boarded a plane. Apparently, he stayed close to another family as they passed through airport security. On the plane, the cabin crew became suspicious of the small boy sitting alone in first class. A flight attendant contacted the Las Vegas police, who met the boy when the plane landed. Free at last. Have you ever seen travel programs on TV about teenagers on holiday without parents? They're always having a wild and exciting time. But is it really like that? We asked 3 writers to tell us their personal experiences. When I was 15, I went to stay with my pen friend in North Germany. It was my first trip abroad and the first without my parents, and I hated every minute of it. The worst moment was probably the time when I was alone in the house and somebody rang the doorbell. They rang it again and again, but I ignored it. Then I saw the visitor walking around the house, looking through the windows. Frightened, I hid under the dining room table. That afternoon, Christina's mother came home from work and said, I needed to pick up some papers from the house today and I didn't have my key. I rang the bell, but you didn't hear me. Oh, I was in my room, I expect, I said. Sorry, my face went red because she knew I was lying. I'm certain she saw me under the table. At 16, I hitchhiked down to Cornwall in the southwest of England with a friend. We spent the holiday walking along the coastal path with a tent and a backpack, staying at campsites on the way. The weather was fantastic and the sea was beautiful. We had almost no money and lived on sandwiches and tea. One of the things I learned was this: a fire and a mug of tea can make the world seem perfect. The second thing, spending more money does not mean having more fun. What really mattered was talking to people. I had to do a lot of chatting, negotiating, discussing, and questioning. Strangers could be very helpful and interesting, I discovered. They could also be dangerous, boring, and stupid. It was up to me to judge them and decide, and that skill has been useful to me many times since then. I wrote I wrote it all down, but I've lost the notebook now, unfortunately. My friends and I were 19 and on holiday in the coolest place in the world, Ibiza. On the first day, I fell asleep on the beach with no sunscreen. My friends knew I was getting sunburned, but they didn't wake me up because they thought it was funny. When I woke up, I felt a little sore. Then I took off my sunglasses and my friends all fell on the floor laughing. I had to clear white rings around my eyes. That night, we all went out dancing, and of course, I had to keep wearing the same sunglasses because of my sunburn. I wasn't enjoying myself, so I left before my friends. For some reason, I didn't want to wait for a bus back to our hotel, so I walked 7 kilometers along busy roads. When I finally arrived, my friends were already there, sitting around the pool. I've never understood how they got there so quickly. Hi everyone! We arrived safely in Paris on Saturday evening. It was very windy and rainy, so the flight was a bit bumpy. Emma screamed when the plane landed. Hilarious! The weather is much better now. Still cloudy, but it stopped raining. We've already been up the Eiffel Tower. We took the lift up but walked back down the stairs. We've also walked down to the Champs Elysees. The shops there are really expensive, so I didn't buy anything. Yesterday we went on a boat trip on the River Seine and then visited the Louvre Art Gallery. We saw the Mona Lisa, which was a bit disappointing. It's tiny. Tomorrow we're going to visit Disneyland. It isn't far from here. Can't wait. Then on Friday we're going shopping, but not on the Champs-Élysées. I want to buy some souvenirs. We'll post another entry tomorrow when we're back from Disneyland. Sorry, I haven't posted since Friday. Arrived in Snowdonia 2 days ago with Joanna after a long, tiring journey by coach from London. There were roadworks on the motorway and an accident, so the journey took 10 hours instead of 6. We're staying in a small, comfortable hotel. It's near a river. The weather is sunny and dry, and I can see hills and a beautiful waterfall from my window. We've already been kayaking on the lake and abseiling on a cliff near the hotel. The kayaking was fun and the abseiling was fantastic but a bit scary. Tomorrow we're going mountain biking. We're going to hire bikes from a shop in the nearest town. Really looking forward to it. Watch out for more blog entries in the next few days. Buried treasure. In November 2013, James Howells started searching an enormous rubbish dump. He was looking for a computer hard drive which he had thrown away 3 months earlier. The hard drive contained 7,500 bitcoins, a virtual currency that people use online. He had bought the bitcoins for almost nothing in 2009, but by 2013 the value of a single bitcoin had risen to over $1,000. So the value of Howell's collection had increased to $7.5 million. In 2010, Howells, who works in IT, had taken his computer apart because he had spilled a drink on it. He had first kept the hard drive and had sold the other parts. When in 2013 he heard about the value of the virtual currency, it was too late. He had thrown the hard drive away. He had totally forgotten about the bitcoins. Howells never found the hard drive, and unfortunately he hadn't saved any of his data. A health food shop in Adelaide, Australia has decided to charge customers $5 for just looking. The problem is that customers keep coming into the shop and leaving without buying anything. They pretend to be interested in a product and ask for advice, says Kate Reeves, the shop owner, but they usually don't buy anything. This new phenomenon is called showrooming. People visit a shop, examine a product, and then buy it online, where it is cheaper. Kate says she spends hours every day talking about products with customers. I can't stand working and not getting paid, she says. I refuse to work for free. Everyone avoids paying more than they have to, but customers fail to realize that Kate's prices are mostly the same as in larger stores and on websites. They prefer to shop elsewhere as they expect to find the product at a lower price. If customers choose to buy something, I return the $5 fee, says Kate. Many shops face the same problem and some may end up introducing a similar change. The danger is that it risks putting customers off, but Kate in Adelaide says it has made no difference to her business. If I had 1 million euros, it would be easy to find three good ways to use the money. It would be a great way to help people who deserve it. First of all, I would donate half of the money to the children's hospital in my town. They are raising money to build bedrooms for visiting families. They could probably start building immediately if I gave them half a million euros. Secondly, I would make a donation to my local primary school to buy sports equipment. As I see it, more sport at school would mean healthier children. Furthermore, the teachers would find it far easier to teach sports and PE if they had new equipment. Finally, I would buy a new bike for my brother. He borrows mine all the time, even though he's got one, because mine is better. If he had a new bike, he wouldn't do that. So to sum up, I would use the money to make life better for the families of children in the hospital, to improve facilities at my school, and to buy a gift for my brother. Hi Ed, how are you? Last week I went with my class on a three-way trip to Dublin. We traveled by coach to Liverpool and then took the ferry. I didn't enjoy the crossing because the sea was a bit rough. We stayed in a hotel near the center, so it was really easy to get to lots of places in the city. The rooms were great and had really good views. The restaurant was really small and crowded though, and the food wasn't very nice. While we were having breakfast one morning, somebody broke into my classmate's room and stole his wallet. He reported the crime to the hotel manager at once. After a while, the police arrived and interviewed three of the hotel employees. In the end, they didn't make any arrests. I'm looking forward to your visit in the summer. What time is your flight due to arrive? Right soon, Chris. A brief history of mobile phones. Nearly a billion mobile phones are sold every year worldwide. The first mobile phone call was made in 1973 by Martin Cooper. He was an inventor for the company Motorola. The call was answered by the boss of a rival company who was not happy to hear that he had lost the race. The first mobiles were powered by batteries that weighed nearly a kilo. Voicemail was added to phones in 1986. Internet access was not added for another 10 years. The first text message was sent in December 1992. It was not typed on the phone itself, but on a computer. The camera phone was invented in 1997 by Philip Kahn. Photos of his newborn daughter were shared via his phone with 2,000 friends and family. In the UK, a mobile phone is stolen every 3 minutes. What are mobile phones used for the most? It isn't texting or calling, it's checking the time. The camera revolution. Over the past 20 years, the way in which we take, keep, and share photos has been transformed. Most people now use smartphones and digital cameras to take photos, and billions of photos have been uploaded to social networking sites. So, have traditional celluloid film cameras been replaced by these gadgets? Not yet, but it won't be long. But things are going to change again. Wearable gadgets have recently been developed that allow you to take a photo simply by blinking. You can also send messages and surf the internet. The technology hasn't been perfected, so these devices won't be sold in shops for a while. Will cameras and mobiles be replaced by wearable gadgets? They haven't been replaced yet, but it may happen sooner than we think. What's certain is that our lives will be changed by these devices in ways we haven't even thought of. The Mars One project is planning to send people to Mars to live there permanently. The idea of living on other planets clearly appeals a lot of people because over 200,000 individuals want to take part in the mission. But how will the settlers adjust to the condition on Mars? Here are some of the problems they will face. The atmosphere consists of 95% carbon dioxide and almost no oxygen. Oxygen. The settlers will have to cope with very low temperature, similar to Antarctica, and very high level of ultraviolet radiation. Gravity is only 38% of that on Earth. We need to learn more about the effects that would have on their bodies. Mars rovers have already searched for water on Mars but have found none, that is, in liquid form. The, the plan is to send another rover to Mars in 2018. Its job will be to prepare for the arrival of the first 4 settlers in 2025. It will construct houses for the inhabitants with a supply of fresh air, water, and solar power. After that, 4 more settlers will arrive every 2 years. How long will the settlers stay? Nobody knows. The volunteer settlers will get a one-way ticket. It may be possible to bring them back to Earth at some point in the future, but there is no guarantee. Dear Sir or Madam, I'm writing to express my disappointment at the Council's recent decision not to include any cycle lanes in town. Since I do not have a car, I cycle everywhere, so this is a very important issue for me. My main reason for objecting to the decision is that cycle lanes improve the safety of cyclists. Without cycle lanes, more cyclists are injured in accidents, as it is far more difficult for drivers to see them. I realize that it is expensive to build cycle lanes, however, I believe it is a good use of public money. Pollution is a problem and we should be encouraging people to cycle rather than going by car because it is better for the environment. All in all, I believe this is a very bad decision. Unless the council reconsiders, there will be a negative effect on road safety and on the environment. How foreigners see the British. What is a typical British person like? People who come to Britain from other countries probably have few expectations. British people are polite, rather reserved, and enjoy drinking tea and standing in queues. But how accurate is this stereotype? In an online survey of 1,402 foreign nationals living in the UK, just over half said that the British matched their expectations. The survey also asked which aspects of the British character the foreign nationals liked and disliked. British people good manners were popular with 49% and 40% liked the ability to queue. Many agreed that the British are reserved and for 32% this was a good quality, but for 19% it was negative. Other negative aspects were the British sense of humor, 31%, and British culture in general, 28%. However, 77% said they liked British people in general, and 61% said that their opinion of the British got better as a result of living in the UK. A spokesman for the researchers said, people probably come to Britain with a stereotype of what to expect. It's good to see that, for the majority, the reality is better than the stereotype. Okay, that's it for now. Don't forget to press the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching.